This is the MOPAR 300 from London, Ontario's Deleware Speedway Park. 38 starters will kick off Canada's top racing tour, offering the first real indication as to who this year's top contenders will be in the CASCAR Castrol Super Series, here on Speed Vision.
The MOPAR 300 is brought to you by MOPAR Performance Parts. STP, get your car into STP shape. And UAP Napa Auto Parts, the right brand for the job.
Hello everyone, I'm Pat Gonzalez and welcome to the first of 10 Castrol Super Series races we'll be televising from both oval tracks and road courses across Canada. With me for this opening event, the MOPAR 300, is Glenn Butt. And Glenn, they've been an awful lot of both driver and team changes for this 98 season.
Oh, there sure have, and probably the most important is the formation of a Ford Quality Care Super Team made up of current national champion Dave Whitlock in a brand new Ford Taurus, and with them 1995 champion Sean Dupuis in the 97 championship car with STP sponsorship.
Well, another team to watch is the newly sponsored UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix that'll be driven by Robin Buck. Unfortunately for Robin Buck, he tagged the wall very hard here during time trials, bent the chassis, and will not race here today.
That's right, and another driver who brings a lot of experience to CASCAR is Peter Gibbons, both here in Canada and the USA with the Busch Grand National Series and the ARCA division. Now, I know Peter and his crew are looking forward to a great season with that Canadian Tire car.
And Glenn, I understand that ex-CASCAR champ Mark Dilley will race selected events this year in a second Gibbons Motorsport Monte Carlo, sponsored by Auto Essentials.
There's a new sponsor name this year with a familiar face. It's DJ Kennington back behind the wheel of his Dodge with Castrol Syntex sponsorship. Now, I know that DJ and his dad Doug are looking forward to a run for the championship this year.
Well, they're pumped up, and so are a couple of other Dodge drivers. Jack Monahan, who will be in the 03 Chrysler 5-star service entry, and also number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Dodge. He sat on the pole position here at Delaware a year ago with a brand new qualifying record at 20.417 seconds.
And Pat, there's a new factor this year, a wider 9-inch McCreary tire, but still on the 8-inch rim.
Well, our first look at how that wider tire would affect the times here at Delaware came in time trials, where former champion number 3, Dan Shurtleff, in the Goodwrench Monte Carlo set the early pace. DJ Kennington had a great qualifying run to move up in the second spot temporarily just behind Shurtleff, but then late in the time trials, 82 Ted McIntyre in the Mopar Dodge and number 16 Al Turner in the Blue Streak Monte Carlo moved ahead of DJ. So our Mopar Fast 4 looks like this.
Dan Shurtleff in the Monte Carlo grabs the pole position for this 300-lapper. Next to him in a Dodge is Ted McIntyre, a former Rookie of the Year in the CASCAR Super Series. Inside on row 2 will be the North York fireman Al Turner in the Blue Streak entry. And outside Turner is the youngest professional driver in the series, DJ Kennington in the Castrol Syntex Dodge. A sellout crowd, Pat, with nearly 15,000 stock car fans here at Delaware Speedway. There's McIntyre ready to go, and here's what everybody's been waiting to hear.
Podium, sir, and give us those famous words. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
There's 96 CASCAR champion Sean Dupuis all ready to go. Dan Shurtleff, the man who will start from the pole position. You saw Tim Ellis, his crew chief, giving him last-minute instructions as we look over the field here that sits on pit road, and now they get the signal to start rolling from pit road, where they had a great autograph session earlier. Just thousands of fans out to watch the drivers. Here is Shurtleff and McIntyre. The two drivers will sit up there in row 1. Row number 2, Turner and DJ Kennington in the Dodge. Row number 3, a couple of Dodges, and Johnny Gaunt and Ron Beauchamp Jr. Back into row 4, it is Al Long in the 51 car, Pete Gibbons in the Canadian Tire Monte Carlo. Steve Robley, 28, and Rob Neely, 97, make up row 5. Row 6, it'll be Brad Graham, one of the young Chargers, and Brad Jakes. Back in row 7, Neil Fair and Sean Dupuis in the 43 STP car. Pete Vanderweest back in row 8 along with Don Thompson Jr. As we look at the rest of the starting grid, there you see Dave Whitlock, the defending national champion, all the way back in 17th starting position. You also saw Kelly Williams starting 24th, a couple of the Quebec drivers in 28th and 29th, Lucien Campeau and Steve Mayhew. Bob Merrifield will be the last driver on the grid back in 38th starting position.
Perfect weather, Pat, and there's the traditional waving of the caps here at Delaware. Let's take a look at the Ford Racing Analysis with posted awards of $52,000. They'll run 300 laps or 150 miles. The track gets a half-mile semi-high banked, and the weather, it's sunny at 27 degrees Celsius. At that rate, it won't take too long to heat up these new 9-inch tires. Here's Todd Lewis.
All the teams are using the new 9-inch tires except one, the 77 car of Peak Vanderwist. He's nearly half a second quicker on the smaller 8-inch tires, but they don't know if they'll last 300 laps. All the teams using 9-inch tires told me handling is the key for the new tires to last the full 300 laps this afternoon.
Thanks, Todd. As we look at the two drivers sitting up there in row one, number 3, Dan Shurtleff, 82, Ted McIntyre brings the field up to speed off at turn number 4. The Dodge Intrepid pace car on pit road as we get the green flag from Matt Lake into turn 1. It's Shurtleff in car number 3 grabbing the early lead. Al Turner from his number 3 starting position jumps up into the number 2 spot, and there I think we saw some bumping between the 17 car of DJ Kennington and number 82 Ted McIntyre. That'll push DJ Kennington back a little bit, and he'll lose a couple of spots.
Well, it's a long race, 300 laps, so right now you've got to find your groove, settle in, and get comfortable, Pat.
Well, they ran side by side. Many of the drivers did on that opening lap. Now they run single file down the back straight up into turn 3. It's still Dan Shurtleff, who I think surprised a lot of people in the time trials. He wasn't running those kinds of laps on the clock in the practice sessions, but they obviously found the setup just prior to time trials, and he was able to put it on the pole position. Your race leader, Dan Shurtleff, in at number 3, Monte Carlo, followed by 16, Al Turner in second, 27, John Gaunt up to third, 28, Steve Robley runs fourth, and now you run on board with number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr.
Beauchamp was on the pole for this race last year, and Beauchamp Sr., one of the busiest engine builders around, he builds the engines for his teammate Jack Monahan and Brad Jakes and Rob Neely.
There are a couple of the young Chargers in this series. Number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., running in the 6th place position. Just behind him, the 17 car of DJ Kennington, back in the 7th place spot. And now we've got a lead change as number 16, Al Turner, has moved ahead of the Dan Shurtleff car to grab the lead. It is still the 27 car of Johnny Gaunt running in 3rd. 28, Robley is 4th.
Let's have another look at that lead change with the MOPAR replay from Turner's Monte Carlo. There's Turner giving a wave to Shurtleff. I don't think they're going to be that polite later on in this race, Pat.
Well, they certainly wouldn't be that polite had it been the last lap, as Turner able to drive around the outside of Shurtleff, who now comes under fire from Steve Robley in the Ford, and Robley around the outside of Shurtleff to grab the 2nd place position. So the pole sitter and the early leader, Dan Shurtleff, being pushed back into that 3rd place position. So it's 16, Al Turner, your new leader. Steve Robley in the number 28 car up in a 2nd, and now Shurtleff running 3rd.
Robley's been running the last couple of months at the Delaware Speedway on the Friday night shows. He knows this place better than anybody.
Oh, Earl Ross, 13, loops the Taurus around in turn 3, and this will bring out our first caution.
And Pat, the last couple of years have not been easy for Earl Ross. Well, with Al Turner leading, we'll return with more of the Castrol Super Series after this. Welcome back to the MOPAR 300, and we've got an unscheduled pit stop.
Jim Rogelot and the crew brought the SDP car of Sean Dupuis in. They found some smoke coming out from the right front. They're looking to see if it's a broken oil line. His brakes are fine, but they just got to find the source of that smoke. The crew frantically looking under the hood to try and get rid of that smoke and get the former National and Eastern Series champion back into the race.
Well, our cars have lined up ready to go on this restart following our first caution of the afternoon. The number 16 car of Al Turner, and 28, that'll be Steve Robley, who'll get the jump on the field. He'll lead them down into turn number 1. So Robley, number 28, grabs the lead here on the restart. 16, Al Turner in 2nd. The 3 car of Dan Shurtleff runs in 3rd, and Shurtleff now being challenged by the 27 car there of John Gaunt as they run off at turn number 4 and back to the stripe. So Steve Robley getting into it right off that green flag and was able to jump ahead of Al Turner. Battle a little bit further back. This is DJ Kennington in that number 17 Castrol Syntec Dodge. He is battling just inside of the top 10, as now the drivers will stack it up side by side. There is Kennington going after the 27 car of John Gaunt. That is the battle for the 5th place position. DJ currently running in 6th.
Here's the story on Gaunt. He drives the Centennial Plymouth 1998 Dodge. He finished 9th in national points last year, has one CASCAR feature. Looks as though the STP team of Sean Dupuis are going to work on either an oil line or a brake line, Pat.
Well, that may have been the problem that put him into the pits early as we look at the race leader, Steve Robley, and he is actually stretching things out a little bit here on the 16 car of Al Turner as they come back to the stripe. It is Robley in the Ford, 16 Al Turner in the Monte Carlo, Dan Shurtleff running in third, and then we've got Dodges running fourth and fifth and Ted McIntyre 82. Oh, we've got a big spin here going into turn 1. 51, Al Long is involved. The Quebec driver Steve Mayeux, number 40, in the Copenhagen car, also involved along with number 1 Pete Gibbons, as the drivers all piled into the wall here in turn number 1. Also involved was that 62 car, and that is the Scott Steckley car.
Earl Ross pits as crew chief Jerry Thompson does a wedge adjustment on that Ford, and Ross heads back out of the pits. Also involved with that wreck in Merrifield as the cleanup crew try to get that car moved off the track. And here's Gibbons in the pits.
Peter Gibbons brings the number 1 car in. He's pitted earlier because they thought they had a miss in the engine. The crew had a look at it, sent him back out, put him further back in the field, and now he's gotten caught up in an accident. The crew looks to be repairing the cosmetic damage right now. Under the hood seems to be working all right. They're frantically trying to get things moving while the CASCAR officials straighten out the cars on the track and hopefully won't go down too far.
Here's another look at that crash from our MOPAR replay. It looks like 51 Al Long checked up, or the 62 of Steckley got into the back of Al Long, and it was keep off the wall after that as everybody begins to pile up.
John Fitzpatrick in car number 14, the black car, also involved, and they're working on that car of number 40, Steve Mayeux. Let's take a look at the UAP Napa field summary. You see Neil Fair up to 7th. He started back in 13th, so he has moved up very, very nicely.
Gibbons back in the pits again with more repairs as he directs the crew, and we'll be back with more of the MOPAR 300 after this. We're back with the Castrol Super Series and the MOPAR 300 from Delaware Speedway as starter Matt Lake gives the field the green flag.
Number 28, Steve Robley, and 16, Al Turner will race down into turn number 1. Turner 16 up on the outside as now you ride with Al Turner in the thick of this lead battle, and Turner will pull ahead on the back chute to take the lead as they run up into 3. Al Turner 16 back out in front. Oh, there's some contact between 82, Ted McIntyre, number 28, Steve Robley. McIntyre settles into that third place position. So it's 16 Turner, your leader, 28 Robley in second, 82 McIntyre back in third. He was the second fastest driver in time trials, and now we go side by side for that fourth place spot. Number 3, Dan Shurtleff being challenged by 17 DJ Kennington, and Kennington will inch ahead as they run down into turn 1. Kennington up on the outside, Shurtleff in the bottom groove, and then we've got another side-by-side fight going on in back of them between 27 Johnny Gaunt and number 60. That is Ron Beauchamp Jr. There is the 60 car. You are running with the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. He will now move around Dan Shurtleff, number 3. So Shurtleff may be having a problem. He is just not coming off the corner. Driving around the outside was the 77 of Pete Vanderwees. So the pole sitter, number 3, Dan Shurtleff, may have a problem here. He's lost 3 positions.
Dropping back ever so much, Dan Shurtleff. A tough break for the driver of the number 3 car, Pat.
And there he is, losing more positions, as now the 55 car of Neil Fair right up alongside as they run down the back chute. And now Fair will move ahead of Shurtleff. And now it is number 4, Don Thompson Jr., also moving up along with 27, John Gaunt. So they have really shuffled the top 10 here the last couple of laps. And I suspect that Shurtleff may have a tire going down as now you ride on board with Jack Monahan in the 03 car. Monahan just outside of the top 10.
Watching Shurtleff in that 3 car, he's really having a tough time handling that car as he gets it away from the wall as much as possible, knowing that he's got a tire going down. All he can hope for now is a caution flag. Inside with Whitlock, the 97 champion. Ford took the Manufacturers' Cup in both CASCAR and NASCAR last season.
Looking at that lead battle continuing here is 28, Steve Robley closes, and there's a problem with the 14 car of John Fitzpatrick. He was involved in that crash earlier, no number on the right side of the car, and he's got some body work hanging from that Monte Carlo. He's about to be lapped by our lead pair. 16 around the outside is Al Turner, your race leader. 28, Steve Robley in second. 82 McIntyre in the Dodge right there, and now DJ Kennington has moved up to join the front-running group. Robley around the outside of number 16, Al Turner, looking for the lead as the two drivers go side by side, and it looks like we're going to have a lead change. Yes, it is Robley into the lead.
He made that look real easy, Pat, as he sort of straddles across the concrete patch there. Robley, a guy who has a lot of experience, as I've mentioned before, knows this track inside and out. Let's take a look at the UAP Napa field summary with Robley leading and McIntyre up to second now. Neil Fair, a good drive, sits in 8th, and 9th through 12th. Lapsevich, the 25 car, sits there in 12th.
The race for 4th place heating up. Number 60, that is Ron Beauchamp Jr. down to the bottom of the racetrack. Up high, DJ Kennington. And there is Ron Beauchamp Sr. looking at his drivers. He takes over the 4th place position. DJ Kennington in the number 17 Syntec Dodge back into 5th. Let's take a look at this replay as number 30, Randy Slack in the Pontiac Grand Prix hits the wall, gets the car back under control, but Slack ran a little bit wide off of that turn and smacked the wall pretty good. I'm sure that thing is not handling as well right now.
Pat, just a moment ago off turn 2, McIntyre got it all squirrely as the back end came out on that car. And Sean Dupuis, once again, the STP car in the pits, reports of possibly an oil line being replaced on that car as Marty Dupuis, Sean's dad, is under the motor.
Here's number 19, Brad Graham. He has brought it in, and it looks like Graham may be retiring here. He's pulled the steering wheel off the car, and it looks like their problems are terminal. Things heating up in the battle here for that 5th place position. Number 17, DJ Kennington, just ahead of 35, Brad Jakes in the Dodge. That black 35 Dodge has been running up through the field. He currently now fights with the number 17 car of DJ Kennington for the 5th place spot.
Jim Lapsevich has brought the car down pit road and looked like he was going to stop, but kind of caught the crew off guard. They're trying to fire the motor and it won't go.
Todd, it looks more like they're trying to get that car back into the paddock for some serious work.
There's your race leader, number 28, Steve Robley, who will put 0-4, Andy Farr, and number 3, Dan Shurtleff, a lap down. So Shurtleff hanging in there, hoping for a caution flag that did not come, and now he runs a lap down. You ride on board with the 16 car of Al Turner, who also now moves around Farr and Shurtleff. Al Turner running in that 3rd place position. The number 43 STP Ford of Sean Dupuis back out on the racetrack. He's being shown 12 laps down. Right behind him, Pete Gibbons 1 lap down.
Always battling for position because those Eastern Championship points are so critical. Here's Todd Lewis.
Dan Shurtleff was the pole sitter this afternoon, but started dropping back early on. He had a left rear tire going down. He hung on as long as he could. Now the crew's brought him in. They've changed the tire, gassed him up, and he's back in.
Well, that puts Dan 3 laps down on the leader, Steve Robley, in the 4th, and we'll be back with more of the MOPAR 300 from Delaware Speedway after this. We're back with more CASCAR Super Series racing at the MOPAR 300 as we have a new race leader. The number 82 of McIntyre has gotten past Robley, and so has Al Turner down into turn 1 now. Our leader has, Beauchamp slides into Robley, sliding him up into turn 1. Beauchamp up to 3rd, Robley to 4th now.
There you see Robley being shown in 3rd in our UAP Napa field summary. That was at the start-finish line. He is now back in 4th. And of course the AIA Pro Score CASCAR transponder system giving us these scoring rundowns. Let's go to Todd Lewis in the pits.
Jack Monahan at the 03 car, Team Mopar, started way at the back, but he's moved up 21 spots. He had problems with his oil pan in qualifying, started way at the back, but he thinks he can move up even more spots with his pit crew.
Couple of Dodges now running together. The 03 of Monahan closing on the 27 of Gaunt, as Gaunt's been falling back from at one point in 3rd position. And a spin by Neely. The 97 car loops it.
Rob Neely in the champion Dodge right in the middle of the racetrack. This will bring out a caution flag as the rest of the field goes around the car that now continues. So Neely, number 97, back rolling again. Does not look as though he suffered any damage. As we look at the Mopar replay, just appears to get into the corner too hot up high and may have got into some of the marbles, loops the car around, and this will bring Ted McIntyre, 82, 55 Neil Fair, and other drivers on a pit road. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Ted McIntyre in the 82 car brings it in. Don Malata and the crew scramble over the wall. They are changing the right front tire and the right rear tire, getting him full of gas. He is the leader and the 1996 Rookie of the Year.
Todd, the right rear will not come off that car. It is stuck. They are having problems with it.
Also in the pits, the 27 car of John Gaunt. There's 43 Sean Dupuis. He is also in, so while we're under caution, here's Glenn with an up-to-speed feature presented by Blue Streak.
Heat is of primary concern to race teams, and on days like today with the MOPAR 300 as hot as it is, you got to make sure that your tires get up to operating temperature as soon as possible to make them stick. And how about the rad? Don't overheat that rad. The engine, well, that's pretty obvious. You don't want that engine to get too hot. Well, something that you may not think about is the electricals. They move them out of the engine compartment and into the dash area here, and you can see on the Jack Monahan car they actually have it elevated off the dash to get air underneath it. The ballast resistor, the ignition box, and the coil are all mounted here away from the heat. Now also they put in a secondary system which allows them the opportunity to switch over should the primary fail with a Y splitter. They flip the switch and they stay in the race. Al Turner's Blue Streak team have a different philosophy. They stay with a single system mounted at the back of the engine in its stock configuration. However, what they do is shield it from the 180-degree exhaust with this aluminum plate. Plus the valve covers are coated to dissipate the heat. Another aluminum shield here over the exhaust to protect that. Now additionally, what they'll do before the start of a race, they'll go out on the track with brand new ignition equipment. And the reason being, they know, like all the other crews here with the Super Series, to finish first you must finish.
Back at Delaware Speedway, as we prepare to go back to green flag racing, we look at the UAP Napa Field summary. There is Jack Monahan, started 31st. He's worked his way all the way up to 6th in the Dodge, as we've had a real shuffling of the positions here throughout this one. It seems like just as a driver gets up front and leads, he has a problem and slides back down through the field. And oh, there's number 16, Al Turner. We've got a big chain reaction crash coming into turn 3 on the restart. Turner's car just seemed to lose power, did not come up to speed, and we've got several cars damaged. Look at Monahan's car, 03 Monahan, who had been running in 6th after starting 31st. And let's look at the Mopar replay, Glenn.
Out the back of Jack Monahan's Dodge as he checks up, Don Thompson Jr. nowhere to go, plows into the back of Monahan. Now on board with Al Turner, the field getting ready to get up to speed as Al Turner realizes he has a problem behind him. The field accelerates, and Pat, there's nowhere to go.
35, Brad Jake spinning to the inside. There is the 03 car, Monahan, with the damaged rad, and you can see the dejection on Jack's face. Also coming into the pits, the 4 car of Don Thompson Jr. Let's go to Todd.
Don Thompson Jr., what happened out there? You were behind Al Turner. Did you get into the back of him?
Yeah, we went into that corner getting ready for the restart, and everybody checked up, and somebody hit me in the back, and I hit the guy in front, and we took the rad out of the car.
You going to get back into it?
Yeah, we're going to try to get some points anyways. We'll get back out there, but chances of a repeat performance of the Mopar 300 is unlikely.
Don Thompson, who won this race a year ago. There's Al Turner. Looks like they're changing the left rear. That may have been the problem. You're watching the CASCAR Castrol Super Series.
Welcome back to the Mopar 300 and the green flag waves on this, our first CASCAR Castrol Super Series race of 10 that we will be telecasting. I'm Glenn Budd along with Pat Gonzalez and Todd Lewis Pittside, and we're racing once again with a new leader, Ron Beauchamp Jr., Pat.
There is Ron Beauchamp Jr. just a couple of car lengths ahead of the second place car of DJ Kennington, and now moving up on the outside of that number 3 car of Dan Shurtleff, who is running 3 laps down, is the 35 of Brad Jake. So we've got Dodges running 1, 2, 3. Then back in 4th is number 98, defending national champion Dave Whitlock in the Ford, and currently Kelly Williams in 5th. Kelly in the Pontiac Grand Prix started all the way back in 24th. And she has worked her way up into that 5th place position. The lead battle heating up, and you ride on board with DJ Kennington as he follows the race leader, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., up Delaware Hill, that little hump coming out of turn number 2 in the back chute. And now here's Kelly Williams. She'll be challenged for that 5th place position by the 02 of Kerry Mix. Mix down to the bottom of the racetrack. Kelly Williams drifting up a little bit high. They'll run side by side back to the line. Williams up on the high side. Kerry Mix down to the bottom of the racetrack. He will inch ahead into 5th. Kelly pushing hard to try to hold on to the spot, but she'll get shuffled back into that 6th place position.
And Pat, there's a spectator, Billy Rouse Jr. out of the race. He started 20th in his Monte Carlo.
Tough break for Billy Rouse Jr., an outstanding driver, but he will not take the checkered flag here today. We look at the battle now shaping up for 2nd place. That is your leader, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Dodge. Then the lapped car of number 3, Dan Shurtleff, who started on the pole here, but Shurtleff had that tire problem that put him a number of laps down. And on the inside, 35, Brad Jakes goes underneath of DJ Kennington to take over that second place position. So a great run here for Brad Jakes, who started 12th and has just taken over that second place spot. Number 17, DJ Kennington, now back in third, and right behind him, Dave Whitlock. And you ride along with the Ford Taurus driver, Dave Whitlock, currently running in that fourth place position. He, of course, is the defending CASCAR Castrol Super Series national champion. Up front, number 60 is your race leader, Ron Beauchamp Jr., but he's being closed in on by that 35 car of Brad Jakes as they work back to the line. And here is number 3, Dan Shurtleff, looking to get one of those laps back. So Shurtleff now just 2 laps down.
Pole sitter Dan Shurtleff having that early flat tire in the number 3 Monte Carlo has been charging hard. He can drive that car high or low, it doesn't matter. Here's Todd Lewis.
Jimmy Lapsevich, you won this race in 1994, but a tough day today.
Yes, unfortunately we had a clutch failure in the quality care service, Tim Horton's Ford. And we're going to repair it, get back out there for our points, but you know, we're not in the race today.
Not in the race today, but still looking for those championship points.
2 drivers in the race here for the 5th place position. Number 28, Steve Robley in the Ford Taurus has taken over that 5th place position. Kerry Mix back to 6th. And here's the 3-way battle going on for the 2nd place position. 35, Brad Jakes in that black Dodge. Right behind him, number 17, DJ Kennington running in 3rd. And then the 98 Taurus of Dave Whitlock. Those 3 cars, and number 35 runs wide.
Pat, the problem apparently is that he's got a tire going down on that Dodge, the number 35 car.
And there is Whitlock, number 98. He'll slide through into the 3rd place position. So Brad Jakes, who was charging to the front, has been shuffled all the way back into that 4th place position. DJ Kennington trying to stay ahead of the 98 car of Dave Whitlock as Kennington goes around the number 1 car there of Pete Gibbons. He goes a couple laps down. Here's a car slow on the back straight.
That's the 88 of Dave Jacobs. He's going to park it in the paddock.
Tough break there for Dave Jacobs as now number 98, Dave Whitlock, back to the stripe as he moves around Pete Gibbons, who is now 2 laps down. And Whitlock going, we've got a problem here on the front straight. Car up into the wall.
That's the number 5 of Dave Hugh out of Hamilton, Ontario in this Chevy Monte Carlo. We'll take a quick break here with Pat and some Chrysler race history.
Chrysler's racing tradition dates back to 1955 when their M-Series cars were very successful in NASCAR. These lettered vehicles put a premium on styling, chrome, and especially horsepower, but they were also known for their outstanding handling and braking. Now Chrysler is about to launch his first new letter series car in 30 years with the 300M. But this isn't the only link to the performance side of the Chrysler organization. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the Hemi motor with its 465 horsepower and the 30th anniversary of the Chrysler small block A engine that powers many of today's CASCAR Super Series race cars. So the tradition continues with this look-alike 1955 Chrysler 300 badge being used as today's MOPAR 300 race logo.
Ron Beauchamp Jr., the number 60 car, Team Mopar, had been leading the race, making his stop. Crew's getting him gas, no tires, they're just waiting, changing water bottles and waiting for fuel to go in. They'll send him back out.
Well, we look at the split screen here of 35. Brad Jakes looks like he'll take on tires, as will number 17, DJ Kennington. So that may be a bit of a gamble by Ron Beauchamp Jr. and the crew as they've gone with fuel but no tires.
The 02 Taurus of Kerry Mix in the pits and out along with McIntyre and Beauchamp, and we'll return with more racing action after this. This is the Mopar 300 from Deleware Speedway near London, Ontario, and more great CASCAR Castrol Super Series race action as we get ready to go green.
There's Matt Lake as the field charges into turn number 1. 98, Dave Whitlock, your leader. Down on the inside, that's 93, Alex Nagy in the AC Delco Monte Carlo. He's being shown 13 laps down. Back third on the racetrack. Second at the moment is that 28 car of Steve Robley as they come off at turn number 4 back to the stripe.
A lot of hard work down there in that Nagy camp by the crew. They've just about done everything, I think, today. They've had to replace the lower trailer arm bushing plus a couple of flat tires in this race. 13 laps down, as you mentioned, Pat. That's a tough day for the AC Delco car.
Looking at our field summary, you saw the front four. There's Kelly Williams in 5th. DJ Kennington in 9th is being shown as the last driver on the lead lap. So number 68, Jim Patrick, running back in 10th. Would be 1 lap down, as well as the driver behind him in 11th, and that is number 3, Dan Shurtleff. We continue to look at this battle here now, shaping up for the 3rd place position. There are a bunch of lapped cars in there, but it is 16 Al Turner holding on to 3rd. Up front, 98 Dave Whitlock, your race leader. Then the lapped car of Alex Nagy, and then the 28 of Steve Robley. As Robley led earlier, now has worked his way back up into 2nd, and you're right on board with Dave Whitlock.
Whitlock's exercised real patience working his way to the front. Here's Todd Lewis.
Al Turner, number 16, is hoping for a caution because he and his crew have noticed his right rear tire is going down. Started 3rd and still battling with the leaders.
That was Jamie Way, Al's crew chief, as Al drops back. There's the 25 of Lapsevich down a couple of laps. DJ Kennington in the 17 car coming up for position. DJ qualified up front for this Mopar 300, something he hasn't done so well in the past.
It really hurt us in a lot of races starting that far back. We took a lot of chances away to win the race. We were always fast enough to run up front, and we always had to use the car up getting there. So hopefully this will help out today. It's a new experience for me starting up here, and hopefully everything just goes smooth and we get in line and follow the leader.
DJ Kennington continues to charge out there on the racetrack as we look at the 2nd place car of number 28, Steve Robley. He's about 3 car lengths back of the leader, Dave Whitlock, and now you ride on board with the Taurus driver, Dave Whitlock, as he comes off at turn number 4. His teammate, Sean Dupuis, has not had a good afternoon. He is in the pits one more time, and there's DJ Kennington, Glenn. He's in the pits.
Cut right front tire, the problem on that Castrol Syntec car as he drops it down a gear and heads back out once again under these green flag conditions.
That green flag pit stop is going to cost DJ Kennington a lot of positions out there on the racetrack. There's Don Thompson Jr. He's got a problem, Glenn.
Well, you know, that actually could be what was the problem for DJ, as these tires, when they heat up, they'll pick up any small little piece.
Race leader number 98, Dave Whitlock, just a few car lengths ahead of the 28 of Steve Robley, and you've got that lap car of number 93, Alex Nagy, in the AC Delco Monte Carlo. Here's your 2nd place driver, Steve Robley. The team worked very, very hard over the winter months preparing that Taurus, and now we look at the battle shaping up for 5th. Around the outside of Al Turner, who's got to be having a problem. Kelly Williams just blows by on the back straightaway up into turn number 3. So Kelly Williams has moved up into that 5th place position as the 77 car of Pete Vanderweest heads out of pit road. Great run here for Kelly Williams.
Tough break for the driver out of St. Thomas, Ontario. Pete Vanderweest started 15th, was running just out of the top 10 before having to come in and change these 8-inch tires. Todd Lewis, back to you.
Pete Vanderweest in the 77 car. The car is up in the air. The crew is changing the right rear tire and taking some wedge out, filled it with gas, and he's back on his way. Maybe it's the problem with those 8-inch tires.
Well, Pete Vanderweest was the only driver electing to go with the narrower 8-inch rubber. Everybody else was on the new 9-inch McCreary slicks. And he is back out there, but again, that pit stop's going to cost him an awful lot of laps. There is the number 16 car of Al Turner hanging on. Al's running in 6th. Here's the 82 car of Ted McIntyre as he closes, battling with the number 68 car of Jim Patrick, who gets into the side of Al Turner. So Turner fighting to hold on to that 6th place position. And now the race leader, number 98, that is Dave Whitlock, around the 40 car of Steve Mailloux in that Copenhagen car. Mailloux, one of the regulars in the CASCAR Quebec Series. Of course, he's looking forward to the race later on this season at the St. Eustache Oval. But right now, Whitlock coming up to lap number 16, Al Turner. So now we show just 5 cars running on the lead lap. Al Turner, car number 16, having his problems. And again, we've had several drivers with cut tires here this afternoon who've had to bring it on a pit road. But Dave Whitlock right now running out in front in that Ford Taurus as the number 3 car of Dan Shirtliff. Oh, we've got a problem here. Fire on board the car of number 97, Rob Neely.
Right inside the cockpit with him, Pat, are those flames as he scrambles to get out of that car. Gibbons' crew members over to help some of the other people there to help as Neely lifts the visor up on his helmet, falls to the ground to catch his breath as the extinguishers still go to work on that champion number 97 car as we just hold our breath and hope that Rob Neely is okay.
Well, they're still deploying the fire extinguishers on the fire to try to get it put out as the car rolls up to the inside guardrail. There is Rob Neely. He's on the pavement. They've got the full face helmet off. And look at that car. It suffered some severe damage. Rob Neely now on his feet as they peel back that driver's suit. But let's take a look at the MOPAR replay. The car is on fire. And that is Sean Gelber, the CASCAR pit official who was there first, gets the fire extinguisher on the fire. A couple of the other crew members help get Rob out of the car. There's Rob Neely walking down pit road. And we'll be back with more CASCAR Castrol Super Series action from Delaware in a moment.
We're back with more CASCAR late model stock car action. After the Neely fire, we're back to green and in turn 3. Oh, Steve Robley, the leader, the number 28, slides high, giving up the top spot to the number 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. to the green flag in the Dodge. And Dave Whitlock, who was in the front, pitted during the last yellow, but has stayed on the lead lap, Pat.
And there is Robley as he just drifts way up high. He may have a tire going down. Tough break for Steve Robley, number 28 in the Taurus, as he continues to run backwards through the field. Your leader is number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., who is in back of a number of lap cars. Also up in that front group, number 35, Brad Jakes, who is the last car running on the lead lap. But there's your race leader, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., who qualified 6th in time trials and now runs up front here in this MOPAR 300. Driver number 35, Brad Jakes, as we mentioned, the last car running on the lead lap. So we have just 6 cars showing on the lead lap as you ride on board with Ron Beauchamp Jr. as he tries to pick his way through the traffic as he runs alongside of Pete Gibbons, number 1.
And Pat, we've just learned that CASCAR officials have black flagged the Ford Quality Care Taurus of Dave Whitlock. There's the number 98 car now on pit road to serve a stop-and-go penalty. The reason being for passing the pace car during that last pit stop action. The Taurus on pit road hopefully will stay on the lead lap as we watch Whitlock get down into the second gear to accelerate out of pit lane, hopefully on the lead lap.
Well, that was more like a slow and go. Here's Todd with a report from the Whitlock pit.
This is the tire that came off Dave Whitlock's car. It's the right rear. Tire temperatures very even right across the tire. That extra inch helping the cars with speed, helping them with grip, and working well.
So the switch from the 8-inch to the 9-inch tire seems to be working well, as Todd's alluded to, and we'll have to wait to see how these teams figure out the new 9-inch tire pad.
Here's our lead battle, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., 02 Kerry Mix. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Rob Neely, a scary moment. First of all, are you all right?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Great. Now, do you know what happened to the car?
I think oil line or something to do or maybe even fuel line broke and caught on fire underneath the dash. It got pretty hot in there. I couldn't get down the fire extinguisher because the flames were right in my face. All I gotta say, all the racers out there, go to a full face helmet because I think I would have been 3rd-degree burns on my face.
Glad to see that you're all right.
Well, certainly good words of advice from Rob Neely. The full face helmet certainly gives the driver a lot better protection. A lot of the traditional stock car drivers still use that open face helmet with the goggles, but certainly as we saw here this afternoon at Delaware, that full face helmet certainly saved Rob Neely for some severe burns to the face. We look at the race leader, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., as he works back up across the start-finish line and into turn number 1. He has had a very good race car all afternoon. 31, Kelly Williams, sitting in that 3rd place position, and now she'll get into it with Al Turner, number 16. Turner being shown in the 6th spot, 1 lap down.
Well, there's the UAP Napa field summary showing Beauchamp leading, followed by Mix, Williams, Whitlock. Then it's Brad Jakes, Al Turner, Dan Shirtliff, and Pete Gibbons.
Looking at a battle here between the 16 car of Al Turner and number 3, Dan Shirtliff. That is the race for 6th. Both of those drivers running a lap down. And just behind him on the racetrack, the 31 of Kelly Williams being shown in the 3rd place spot. So Kelly continues to have just a great run here this afternoon at Delaware Speedway. Al Turner 16 ahead of Dan Shirtliff, who runs in 7th. Both of those drivers have had their share of problems, but have been able to battle back into the top 10. And there's your race leader, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., who had been pressured there a few laps ago by Kerry Mixon. Oh, we've got a big crash on the back straightaway involving several cars. It looks like 28 Steve Robley is involved, along with Ted McIntyre. Number 82 Jack Monahan, also one of the cars involved. And there's the number 4 of Don Thompson Jr.
Severe damage on the 03 of Monahan, and Ted McIntyre dog tracking his Dodge back to the pits. We'll be back with more after this. We're back with the MOPAR 300 from Deleware Speedway near London, Ontario, as these late model stock cars get the green with the number 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. leading them into corner 1.
But right behind Ron Beauchamp Jr. is 02 Kerry Mix. In second, 31 Kelly Williams running in third. And again, those front-running 3 cars are up front in among a bunch of cars that are running laps down. There's Kelly Williams, 31, running a little wide off of turn number 4. And now Ron Beauchamp Jr. pulling away from Kerry Mix in the 02. Kelly Williams just about a car length back in third. In fourth is 98, right behind Kelly Williams. That is Dave Whitlock. And then 35, Brad Jakes, the only other car running on the lead lap. Dave Whitlock inside of Kelly Williams to take over that third place position. Kelly Williams in the 31 car being pushed back 1 spot, and then right behind her is the 35 of Brad Jakes running in the 5th place spot. Down to the bottom of the racetrack there, number 3 Dan Shurtleff and number 93 Alex Nagy. Nagy, a disappointing run here after having problems with his car. He continues to battle to try to pick up some points. But there's your race leader, number 60. That is Ron Beauchamp Jr. The big question here for Ron Beauchamp Jr., who did not take on any fresh rubber when he made his pit stop, is will he have the tires to take him all the way to the checkered flag? 35, Brad Jakes now all over 31, Kelly Williams for that 4th place position. Jakes running high up off of turn number 4 as they work back to the stripe, and he's to within about half a car length.
Well, you know, Pat, there's a couple of good reasons why Brad Jakes is running so well right now. He's got a Beauchamp motor under the hood of that number 35, and Earl Ross has helped him with the chassis from an ex-Junior Handley jig. Here's the McIntyre crew going to work on that car, probably a Panhard bar adjustment, Pat.
There is the battle for 4th, as on the inside it'll be Brad Jakes who will take over that 4th place position from Kelly Williams in the 31 car. So Kelly, who ran up as high as 3rd, now losing a couple of positions. She runs 5th as they come off at turn number 4.
Well, here's a great shot from the STP Sony Handycam, Pat, as Sean Dupuis works the brake pedal, the double pump to build up the pressure, and then easy on the brake, and then back hard on the throttle once again.
Left foot braking for the drivers here on the oval as we look at the battle for second. Dave Whitlock, number 98 in the Taurus, has taken over the 2nd place spot from the 02 of Kerry Mix, who appears to have slowed here, Glenn, in the last few laps.
He's definitely lost the handle on that Taurus. There's something wrong for Kerry Mix.
Dave Whitlock in the number 98 Taurus pulling away from Kerry Mix, who continues to fall back through the field. As we look at the UAP Napa field summary, there you see Brad Jakes up into 4th, Kelly Williams 31 in 5th is the last car running on the lead lap. Side-by-side battle out of turn 4, back to the line. Brad Jakes will go inside of Kerry Mix now to take over the 3rd place position. So Jakes may be the fastest car on the racetrack.
Now on board with Ron Beauchamp Jr., our race leader, but I actually think that Kerry Mix was trying to get down to the inside line and meanwhile lost the position.
Kerry Mix definitely has a problem with that race car as we look at the leader, 60 Ron Beauchamp Jr. with a pretty good lead right now. 98 Dave Whitlock in 2nd, 35 Brad Jakes 3rd, and then Kerry Mix in the 02 has brought it onto pit road. So Mix hung in there for a while, but now he's brought it onto pit road. So evidently the problem getting worse as we look at 98 Dave Whitlock being challenged by 35 Brad Jakes on the inside. Whitlock got hung up on the outside of Dan Shurtleff, and he will get shuffled back into 3rd as 35 Brad Jakes now is charged up into that 2nd place position. So we have Dodges running 1-2, and then it is Whitlock in 3rd into 4th.
Jakes is on the charge, and we've got Todd Lewis down in the mix pit.
Kerry Mix in the 02 car had been battling with the leaders, and the crew's got the car up. They're putting jack stands under it. The left rear tire is coming off. It may be a problem that's brought Kerry Mix in.
It looks to be more than a tire problem, Todd, as the crew will look under the suspension of that car towards the trailing arm. It's definitely slowed Kerry Mix down.
Tough break for Kerry Mix, who had charged from a 33rd starting position, ran up as high as second, but now he sits on pit road. The battle for the lead heating up as number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., is being reeled in by that 35 of Brad Jakes, the Mount Bridges, Ontario driver in that black Dodge. As they work back to the line, it's down to just about a car length. So Ron Beauchamp Jr., who did not take on any tires when he pitted earlier, those tires may be going away. And here's Jakes on the inside as they run the back straightaway into turn number 3. And Jakes on the bottom of the racetrack will take the lead. Brad Jakes charging into the lead as he has been able to reel in that 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr., who's been running up front for many, many laps now.
Well, Brad Jakes is your new race leader, but as Ron Beauchamp Jr. have anything left for Jakes, don't go away. We'll be back with more racing in a moment. This is the Castrol Super Series and the first race of the 10-race series, the MOPAR 300. And the number 35, Brad Jakes in the Prestone-sponsored Dodge, who started 12th, has put together a superb effort, grabbing the lead on lap 270 over a slowing Ron Beauchamp Jr. in another Dodge.
There is your race leader off at turn number 4. Brad Jakes. Has been 4 years since he won a Castrol Super Series event. He's just taken the white last lap flag around the 02 car of Kerry Mix, who's out there on the racetrack. There's the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. running in second. 35, Brad Jakes, just one corner to go. Off of turn 4, the checkered flag in the hands of Matt Lake, and there is the win for Brad Jakes. It has been 4 long years, but his crew celebrates on pit road.
There's your final results. Up front, it's Brad Jakes, followed by Beauchamp, Whitlock, Williams, and Turner. In 6th, it's Gibbons, Shirtliff, Vanderwees, Patrick, and Robley. Now let's go down to the Choco winner's circle with Pat. He's with Brad Jakes.
Brad Jakes, it's been a number of years since you put one of these across the line first to take the checkered flag. This has got to be just a tremendous emotional win here in the MOPAR 300.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's fantastic. All I got is thanks to Mopar, Team Mopar. Boy, they've been good. Finally think I've been trying to pay them back a little bit for all the good they've done to me, so this is fantastic. We knew we had a real good car. Best car I've drove in a long time. Guys just held their cool, did their job, and we just picked off one at a time, and it came together. I honestly, I didn't think we'd get this close, but I knew it would be in the top.
Brad, congratulations on just a tremendous win here at Delaware.
Thank you very much.
One of the truly nice guys in racing. There's the Canadian Tire CASCAR Eastern Point standings, with Jakes just ahead of Beauchamp, followed by Turner, Whitlock, and Shirtliff. The Castrol Super Series is brought to you by Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant, by Mopar Performance Parts, by STP, keep your car in STP shape. And once again, our congratulations to our top 3 finishers, Brad Jakes, Ron Beauchamp Jr., and Dave Whitlock.